Listen, capitalism is not the blame here. We like to blame capitalism on this not going our way, that not going our way, and nearly everything not going our way. Let's unpack this. Here's the thing, capitalism plays a powerful role in the process of what's not going our way, and it also plays a role in the process of things that are going our way. You see the paradox here? What capitalism does is it reduces the human experience to a business transaction, the human connection to a business transaction. What can you do for me in exchange for what I can do for you? That's the transaction. It works in a specific context, but because we are being governed by so many different systems on the planet, these systems actually make every connection that we make a business transaction. We think that the government is responsible for this, oh, the government this, the government that. But the government is only a small part of the role here. And it may blow your mind, the one that's at the top of the list. The system that's at the top of this list. And the system that's at the top of this list is religion. Now, you may be saying, well, I don't follow any religion. I'm my own religion. I'm da 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 da. And that is valid. However, collectively, our world is governed by a religious belief structure, an organized religious belief structure. And whether it is your personal belief, your personal philosophy, your family's philosophy, your childhood philosophy, whatever it is, it's a belief. Your belief holds the ingredient for what you allow to happen. Since religion is at the top of this list and it influences your beliefs, but next on the list is education. If the beliefs that have been influencing your life are full of contradictions, then your education system will reflect the contradiction. Then the education itself influences mass media, meaning entertainment, news, the things that we consume in social media. That will be full of contradiction. Then next on the list would be social class. How do you fit in the social structure of the way that you exist? Your ethnicity, your location. This then influences the government and economics. Now, this is the only way that government and economics can play a significant role in your life, is when your beliefs, your education, what you find entertaining is something that they can use to fulfill their agenda. The government isn't the last on the list because there's a system that governs the government. And the system that governs the government is the private banking system. Now, this is no secret. This is no secret that private banks support our government systems. Hence the reason it's so easy to get sucked into the energy that is the thread between these systems. And the energy is money. Money is no different than any other energy channel in our existence. Money can be an energetic exchange, food can be an energetic exchange, clothes can be an energetic exchange, lodging and housing can be an energetic exchange, and even down to our physical relationships and connections with each other is an energetic exchange. But when it's been reduced to a business transaction, this is where things get muddied. Everything is often compartmentalized and separated in a business transaction, specifically within the human connection. And so the business part of this makes our experience a human transaction rather than a human transformation. Meaning everything that we do is action driven. What can I get, do, and strive for? Rather than how am I being? Am I being the change that I want to see? Am I being the love that I intend to experience? Am I being the peace that I intend to give? Am I being the joy that I intend to share? This kind of thought would often explain the reason why love has so many definitions. Because either your love is being influenced by a transactional way of existing, or your love is being influenced by a transformative way of existing. Because when love is transactional, then it's going to be a lot of compartmentalization. Love begins to look more like an action verb, what I can do for you to show that I love you, and it will be completely disconnected from the emotional and the mental aspects of it. You'll begin performing what you think others want to see from you rather than performing who you really are, regardless of what others see or think. And the only way that transactional love will continue to thrive is when you continue to engage with the systems that are pushing it out for you to experience. Even when it's not working, the condition is to keep pushing and fighting for it to work, even though it's not working. That's the theme of transaction, to keep going, and fighting and doing. And fighting is a form of resistance. And what you resist persists. And so instead of love becoming a fully embodied transformative experience, it becomes a very strong emotional and mental attachment or detachment. And this often distorts your ideas around commitment and loyalty and even connection. For example, monogamy and polyamory and polygamy. All of these things are usually affected by how transactional you're approaching the connection. Because if you've not allowed yourself to bridge the gap between all of these elements, then you'll confuse a transformative, fully embodied experience of love with a transactional form of it. Meaning you'd be mentally monogamous but emotionally and physically polyamorous. Or vice versa. You'd be mentally polyamorous and emotionally and physically monogamous. In other words, you'll be dealing with a disconnect mentally, emotionally, and physically, which will represent this huge contradiction where nothing's on the same page at the same time in the same way about the same thing, which is actually what transformative fully embodiment is all about. When everything, your mental, emotional, and physical aspects are on the same page at the same time about the same thing, which means you've now got to get in a place where you've got to start evaluating your beliefs, evaluating your education and what you've been informed about. You begin reevaluating what you were drawn to for entertainment. You got to reevaluate your social system, meaning what's around your social circle, and then even down to your relationship with money. You see how layered this is? Because when you think about it, we live in a magical universe. Everyone is magical. Those who hold positions in these systems know that. And so when it comes to expressing your magic, you can't lie. And they know that. And so we tend to think that the system is lying to us, but the truth is always hidden in plain sight. The manipulation, the deception, the control is hidden in plain sight. But according to the process of cause and effect, the opposite is the case as well. The clarity, the unity, the harmony is also hidden in plain sight. That's the transformative part. And so the transformation can't really be fully realized until you realize how transactional everything is, or everything has been. This has little or nothing to do with money. Again, money is simply one of the many exchanges of energy. Therefore, if you have a transactional way of existing on the planet, as well as a very transformative way of existing on the planet, what do you think matters the most when these two opposing expressions are existing at the same time? What you're giving the most of your attention to. Your attention is the main currency. And believe it or not, that is actually the blame here. What you are giving most of your attention to. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Hence the phrase, pay attention. You are paying attention. And so when you are paying too much attention to the contradiction, when you're paying too much attention to the conflict, when you're paying too much attention to what's not going your way, guess what you're going to get more of? Things not going your way. Things being confusing, things being contradicting. And then when you don't stop and when you don't pause and actually start to observe your role in the transaction, then it's going to be too challenging to make a different decision about it. This is where the inner work comes in, because you really then have to evaluate your beliefs. You then have to evaluate what you've been giving most of your attention to, meaning the movies you've been watching, the music you've been listening to, the people you've been engaging with, the things you've been spending your money on, because that's what keeps a transactional way of existing alive. It becomes transactional existing rather than transformative living. The intention is to live in such a way that your sincerest truth will be a pulse for someone else's sincerest truth. Then how do you know when someone's sincerest truth is aligned with your sincerest truth? There's ease, there's joy, there's bliss, there's peace, there's safety. And it all requires you to get clear on what that feels like for you. And everybody is not coded the same way at the same time. And so this becomes a journey that you've got to take for yourself, and trust that the people, places, things, and circumstances that are meant to assist you in your journey will naturally show up, magically show up. And they do, in expected and unexpected ways. But when you're not trusting that, then you'll be trying to control the way and control the outcome. That becomes more of a transactional way. But if you're meant to be on the side of transformation, then don't worry. You'll feel the suffering of a transactional existence. Either you'll be too exhausted to keep that up, or you'll naturally say, you know what? Let me just change my mind. And the moment that you change your mind about where you are, you have the ability to change your entire life. And that's the magic here. You hold that in the palm of your hand. And when you begin doing that for yourself, then everything, every person, every place around you will begin to adjust itself to that. Trust that. All right. That's that for today. If you enjoyed these kinds of talks, then by all means, please subscribe, engage in the conversation, like, turn on your bell notifications, and I'll keep pumping these videos out and these messages out. But in the meantime, in between time, be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself, and make the best of this right now moment and the right now moments to come.